Hello guys and welcome to Daddy Share Space. So today I'm coming to you with an unboxing. I picked this up on Amazon in hopes of improving my dust collection around the shop. So let's get this unboxed and see what we have here. So as you can see, it's a Festool package. And let's go ahead and get it out of the box here. So we have a box within a box. And right here we have the Festool 50mm hose. This is the longer version of the hose. It comes in two different lengths. I think it's about 13 feet or so. So taking a look at the hose here, you can see it's Festool green, obviously. Now, what I purchased this for is I wanted to see if it would work with my Raycon jointer and also with my DeWalt planer, and so that I could connect it directly to my Festool vacuum with the CT Cyclone, my 48 liter. That way I could cut down on having to use bags by using the Cyclone, and also utilize the Bluetooth functionality with the remote as far as activating the vacuum. Now here I'm pulling out my Festool 36mm hose. I believe this is the newer one that I got, and then now I'm pulling out the hose that actually came with my CT48. And I'm just trying to get an idea of the difference in the diameter and then also the difference in the material. And finally, I'm pulling out my newest hose that came with the CT vacuum. This one, or the CT MIDI. So this is the 27mm hose. So this is the smallest hose that I believe the Festool offers. Now, the first test that I want to see is if the 50mm hose will work with this CT MIDI. Obviously, with a greater diameter hose, you're going to get a higher airflow, and it does fit within the vacuum, is what I've discovered. However, it's not a tight fit. It's not a snug fit. It just kind of sets in place, but it does function. So after giving that a try, I forgot about this blower port on this CT MIDI, so I went ahead and tried it on there, and it works as you would expect. The actual force of air blowing out is, it's not super strong, but you can use it to blow away, dust and stuff like that. But obviously it's not anywhere comparable to a compressor. So far so good. The 50mm hose can work with one of Festool's smaller vacuums, so that's a check in the positive box. Now I want to see if it'll fit in the top and close, and as I discovered here, it will not close fully. So even though you can use this hose with the MIDI, it will not close fully. And then I went back here and I tried it with the table saw. It does not work with the Festool table saw, so you're limited to either the 27 millimeter or the 36 millimeter. It does fit in the CT Cyclone, so you can get a higher volume of air with that. These are some off-the-shelf 2.5-inch components that I use with my rigid shop vac, and as you can see, the 50 millimeter hose is compatible with these accessories. So you can use the large crevice tool, you can use the floor cleaning attachment, so that's a nice little added functionality. Now here's the port to the Raycon. It does not fit in one direction, but in the other direction it does fit. So not quite the solution that I was hoping for, but later on in the video I kind of end up coming to the conclusion that it was user error.
So right here we have the DeWalt compound sliding miter saw, and as you can see here, we have this proprietary port, and this is not going to be something that we can use the 50 millimeter hose with, as you can see here. So right here you can see a whole bunch of sawdust here. This is the back of my Milwaukee M18 table saw, and often this kind of sawdust ends up piling up under my MFT because I use my MFT as an outfeed. This Festool 50 millimeter hose is compatible. It will fit into the opening here so that I can hopefully clear up a lot of this problematic sawdust gathering. This right here is my Ryobi bandsaw, and as you can see, the 50 millimeter hose by Festool is able to fit in the dust port, so that should give me improved dust collection on the Ryobi bandsaw. This is the dust port for my Ryobi router table. The 50 millimeter hose does fit inside there, as you can see. So it will work as a dust collection solution for this router table. Here I have my rigid sander, benchtop sander, and the 50 millimeter hose does fit inside here, so this will improve my dust collection on this rigid sander. So as you can see here, we have the Raycon jointer, and this is the actual adapter that comes with it. So for all this time I had been putting it in this way and trying to find something that would go in here, not realizing, because I never did read the instructions, not realizing that it actually goes in the other way, which it doesn't really look like it should go in this way, but it does fit that way, and thus forth it solves the dust collection situation, because as you can see, the hose connects, and you have you can use the Festool 50 millimeter, or you can use the rigid shop vac cable or hose in this port. So that'll hopefully cut down on the dust chips going all over the shop. Right here we have my DeWalt planer, and I'll pull this down. This is the actual dust collection portion of the planer, you can see here, and it just fits in place like that, as you can see. And the 50 millimeter hose that Festool offers can fit in there. It's not a snug fit, as you can see. It's kind of pliable and moves about, but it will work in a pinch to be able to collect your chips. It's better than it basically flying all over the place. As you can see here, this is my Craig Foreman pocket hole jig, and it is not a solution for that. So I'll have to find some kind of adapter to connect on here so that I can improve dust collection with this tool. So the Craig Foreman and the DeWalt compound miter saw do not work with the 50 millimeter hose that Festool supplies. All right, so here you see my Milwaukee compound miter saw. I have it on a French cleat on the wall, and when I take off the bag here that's full, you can see that they have this proprietary type of dust collection port where you could fit things on the inside and the outside. The Festool 50 millimeter hose will work with this, so that's a pro for the Milwaukee miter saw. And then if we turn our attention just over here to the 7 1/4, you have the same opening, which means that you have the same kind of dust collection capabilities. So if you're actually considering the Festool 50 millimeter hose, it does offer a lot of functionality. Essentially, it's just a more expensive version of the rigid hose. However, this is touted as being anti-static. This right here is just a regular Home Depot off the shelf wand attachment, and the Festool hose works with it perfectly. You can use all of their, like, what's rated as the 2.5 inch attachments. This is a huge crevice tool. All of those work with this particular device. So if you wanted to, so the benefit to purchasing the 50 millimeter hose would be if you wanted to run only Festool and you wanted to use it, like say with your CT48, your CT36, so you have a larger capacity vacuum. You could use it with the smaller ones, but basically, especially in conjunction with the Cyclone where you could save on bags, you could use this as your everyday, all-day shop vac. And I think it's nice that you can actually go to your local hardware store or big box store and pick up accessories to be able to use, to be able to do cleanups and such with your regular Festool vacuum. You don't have to limit yourself to the 36 millimeter hose and all of the accessories that go with that. So that's going to add a little bit of functionality and flexibility. Overall, would I say that this particular hose is worth it? I'm going to be 100% frank. I can't say that it is. Being that now that I know that I can plug the rigid shop vac hose directly into this machine, I don't necessarily see a real reason, unless you're worried about the anti-static type of issues, or you have color, you just want everything to match as far as color. I think you'll be perfectly fine just using the rigid shop vac hose, because you can get it at a way cheaper price. And I had actually bought a bunch of hoses to attach to this rigid so I can kind of run it from one corner of the shop to the other. I bought this 50 millimeter hose because it was, called 50 millimeter. I wanted to do a comparison to find out what the difference was between the hoses and if there was any difference. I'm not gonna lie, I did expect it to come braided like the other versions of the hose, which is not. Am I disappointed? Not really. It's a hose. This hose is a lot less flexible and pliable by comparison to their other hoses, and it is very similar to the hose that comes with the Cyclone kit, which is more just like kind of like an old school type hose. Well, let me back up and say, I can't say there's not a whole lot of difference. The Festool hose does feel substantially thicker, substantially more robust by comparison to this. This hose here, even though they're very similar in diameter and shape, just difference in color, this one is a lot easier to depress as opposed to the Festool hose. The Festool hose feels a lot more rigid, a lot more firm, which, hence is why this one is a little bit more difficult and a little bit more unwieldy to get about the shop. Now, I'll have to do a little bit more investigation to see if Festool offers a reducer for this 50 millimeter hose to bring it down to the 36 millimeter and even further still to the 27 millimeter, because in this current configuration, just like this, you cannot use it. Obviously, you can't use it with the Domino, but you also can't use it with the Capex. You can't use it with any 36 millimeter hose devices because the opening is too big and it just won't attach. So I'll be looking to see if there's actually an attachment that reduces the 50 millimeter down to those smaller sizes so that you can actually get full increased airflow for all of your Festool tools, which could be beneficial, especially, like this will not fit on the table saw. Right? So you're not, the only improved performance that you can get on the table saw is to use the 36 millimeter hose. The 50 millimeter hose is just not going to cut it because it won't fit. I've discovered in the making of this video, the fact that though Festool may have a lot of proprietary things, their vacuum port opening to their vacuums is not proprietary. So thus forth, if you chose to, say, buy a Festool vacuum and you decided, I don't want to upgrade to or buy a more expensive hose, you could get away with purchasing the rigid hoses off the shelf at your local hardware store and utilizing those. Now you don't get the anti-static features, and so you don't get that benefit, but you know, it is a step in a more reasonable financial direction when it comes to using Festool products or so on and so forth. Do I regret buying the 50mm hose? I'm gonna be honest, I don't. I mean, there's multiple reasons why. I know it's a first party device, so I know that I'm gonna get the functionality that I'm looking for, that they designed it for. Whether it'll meet my expectations, only time will tell. But the other reason is because I'm having the opportunity as a novice here on YouTube to basically share my personal opinions in regards to these you know, devices and tools. And so you have the opportunity to see it and make a decision for yourself. I have not seen a lot of videos about the 50mm hose, and hopefully this video would help you to be able to make a decision on whether it would be worth it for you to purchase the hose. Anyways, guys, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch these videos, and I will see you in my next one. Take care.